Namaste, viewers. A warm welcome to the Ex-Christian Show, the insider view of Christianity from the outside. In an ongoing effort of acquainting you with the true nature of Christianity through the experiences of ex-Christians, I have been bringing before you people that have walked in the Christian ways, but then have seen the light at some point in their adult life and walked out of it. There are some that have taken birth in Christian homes, whether nominal or conservative Christian homes, but Christian nevertheless. So, one such ex Christian is who we have with us today. He is Dr. Robin Joseph Abraham, Assistant Professor of Pediatrics at Al Azhar Medical College in Kerala. He was born in a Syrian-Jacobite Christian family, and by virtue of his father's position as a diplomat, Dr. Abraham got to live in various countries growing up, like Sri Lanka, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Libya, Nepal, etc. He is the author of a book called The Philosopher Volunteer. So, welcome to the show, Dr. Abraham.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for being
Thank you.
on my show.
Thank you.
So, you were born in a Syrian Jacobite family.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and the denomination you were born into. I want you to tell a little bit about how Syrian Jacobite Christianity works and what kind of upbringing and what is that brand of Christianity?
Okay. I would say that I was not born in a very conservative Christian family, but and my upbringing wasn't very religious. But I have what prompted me to study religion was basically my experience in Saudi Arabia. As a matter of fact, ironically, I would say that I started becoming more curious about Christianity in my encounters with my classmates in an embassy school in Saudi Arabia. Like for example, what happened was that I was asked, "Are you a Hindu?" When I was in seventh standard. And when I was in seventh standard, "Are you a Hindu?" To me, that was a very odd question for a seventh standard student to get. So I said, "No, I'm not a Hindu. I'm a Christian." Then he hugged me. Oh, he was so happy to see that I'm a Christian. Eh? Then I was wondering, why is he so happy to see a Christian? Oh, I'm so happy you are not a Hindu. And that at least you have some chance of going to heaven. Only Muslims are going to heaven, and Christians are okay, better than Hindus. Hindus are going to hell. Okay, this little conversation about heaven, hell, and about the doctrinal differences between Christianity and Islam, and about how Christianity does not believe in this. But the Christianity believes that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and the Islam believes that Jesus Christ is the prophet of God. All of these doctrinal differences were played up, and I was wondering what all of this was about. And that's when I started studying, was prompted to study. And that was in my seventh class. So then I started thinking about it, prompted to study Christianity. Syrian Jacobite, I would say, is that it's. It's not so missionary in its intent. I mean, in the sense that it's a more historical, it's a more historical church, and people are not given into the missionary impulses so much as it is in the neo-Christian movements or or probably in the Roman Catholic Church. So I would say that my exposure to the Abrahamic religious doctrine and its aggression happened in Saudi Arabia, and I extrapolated and I started studying the religions in general, and that's how my religious views developed. And so basically, what I've learned is that the idea of heaven is very central in the Abrahamic doctrine. That is, if you believe in a particular X, whatever it is, in Shias may have one, Sunnis may have one, Christians may have one, whatever is that X, that will that will give you a ticket to heaven. If you don't have that, then you don't go to heaven. For me, at a doctrinal level, that sounds very childish. Okay, and then by the time I got my entrance exam in MBBS, that was I was 17 years of age. I still remember. I will never forget it in my life. Three Christian missionaries came into my house, and it's very ironic that why would a Christian missionary try to convert a Jacobite, another Christian? I mean, that's also very ironic. Probably not many people know this, but when these Christian missionaries enter into a Syrian-Jacobite family houses, they are also irritated, just the way Hindus get become irritated for that religious evangelism. So my uncle was irritated. Oh, these people come and they're going to talk about the Bible, and when the three people came in, and I asked them very simply, and I asked them that is Srinarayana Guru going to hell? Is Gandhi going to hell? Is Swami Vivekananda going to hell? What is more important for you? Is it to be a good human being or
How
to
old were
be?
you at this time?
I was 16. I was 16. I just got my entrance. I was planning to go for and join for MBBS. And before my travel, that is a day before my travel, next day I was supposed to take a bus to Trivandrum. These people, three people enter. And they talk like that. And there was pin drop silence. So that was the most interesting thing about these three people. There was pin drop silence and then they left back. And when I went, the next day I was waiting at the bus stop to go to Trivandrum Medical College. And this one lady comes up to me and says, "Do you remember me? Do you know me?" I don't. I didn't. I was part of that person who came to your house to talk about the Bible. And I want to tell you something. I was very impressed by what you said. And I was shocked because what happened was that I expected her to say to me that, "Oh, Robin, you are in the wrong path. I hope you will come back to Jesus." And that was all I was actually ready in my mind to get bombarded. And I was flabbergasted, And she also said, and that was something amazing, that I want you to go in this path that you have taken. Right? And so it was like I was quite amazed, and it was like you don't deviate from the path that you have taken. And so I felt that my words were having an impact in the sense that she also said we were all talking about it, all the three of us. So I understood the power of arguments from her, and that if you make a good argument, people listen. It's not like I didn't shout at them, I didn't abuse them. I just gave an argument, and it had an effect on her. So I think it's important to develop an open conversation about religion, and not the shouting that happens in Twitter
Yes.
and Facebook.
I
So
totally agree, totally agree. So I want to go back to this incident where these people felt that being a Syrian Jacobite family, you all needed to be saved because you were not saved, even though you are also one of the many denominations of Christianity. So
yep.
here is something I really point out. Uh, Christian denominations. So one denomination thinks the other is certainly going to hell because they don't follow their ideology. So is this a battle of ideologies within Christianity itself?
Yeah, I want to make a larger point. The larger point here is that humanity cannot be straitjacketed into one ideology. Okay, Christianity wants to the idea that everybody should have the same religious idea, the same religious thinking is not humanly possible. This is the evidence. That is, even when you are Christian, you are not Christian enough. You are not Muslim, you're not Muslim enough, or you're not supposed to have this sort of an ideology. Or like for example in Pakistan, people are calling Ahmadiyyas non-Muslims. They are not giving them passports, and so they're shunting the Ahmadiyyas out. So in the sense that that's why I think the Hindus were right in the sense that each temperament will need a different religion. Each human being will have a different religious path based on their temperament. So, in a way, this sort of fight is there definitely, that my way of interpretation of Christianity is correct, or my interpretation of Islam is correct, or whatever. My interpretation of the religion is correct. So, this fight over the correct interpretation, the correct idea, this will be never ending. And what I saw in that particular incident there was the symptom of that. One Christian denomination trying to woo over another, and that person, the people in that Christian denomination, feeling irritated when they see the other people coming and buy, which is correct. I agree. There is a lot of logic in that irritation. Why should you? It's not right to just bang your religion on people's heads. I mean, that doesn't sound nice. So that's the thing.
So, so you were in this family, the Syrian-Jacobite family. Your father was a diplomat, and you were getting exposure to all these various cultures. And from what I can tell, I mean, at 16 itself, you were very curious about things, and you were putting out questions, and you understood the power of argument and a good argument. How was your family atmosphere, the Christianity in your family, within your family? So were there conversations around the table about heaven and hell, or reading the Bible every day, or going to prayer, going on your knees in prayer
Okay.
at bedtime,
So,
so things like
uh,
that?
okay. Actually, my father was an atheist and a communist when he was young, when I was in my growing up ages, and so
And he
he
was also
we
born in a Christian family.
yes, he was. He was. Now he's a devout Christian. But what I'm saying is that at that time, at younger age group, age time, it wasn't like we were in a going church going people, or so it was a little bit of a different family. But I would say that my mother's side is more religious, and I started having these conversations with my cousins. And I saw that some of my cousins turned into Christian missionaries because of my conversations, because they felt that they needed to defend their religion because I was questioning them. So I have had some impact in the sense that one of my cousin is almost an evangelist, and he told me I became an evangelist because of you, because I saw your arguments and I wanted to protect it or defend it. But my mother's family is more religious. My father's family, ironically, my uncle was a scholar. I mean, my uncle was a scholar in the sense he was not a very educated person, but he had a very in-depth knowledge about Mahabharata and Ramayana and all that. So from my father's family, it was more liberal. But as I told you, my journey started from Saudi Arabia. It's like a little different from other people's journey into exploring. If Saudi Arabia didn't happen, probably I don't know what would have happened to my curiosity about religion started from Saudi Arabia. And ironically enough, it was not my family, but ironically enough, when I came back from Saudi Arabia, the Babri Masjid was demolished. That was in 1992. Okay, so I was from Saudi Arabia. I touched down from my flight from reach here within 6 months or 8 months. I don't remember. So Babri Masjid is demolished, and I don't know the context of the conflict at all. And I see my classmates getting all excited, and my one of my classmates' father was BJP MP, and we were studying in a so I got very curious about from there I got curious about Indian history, about Hindu Muslim history, and that was my journey. It's not a typical ex-Christian journey, I have to admit,
Correct.
but I have to say that my exposure to Christianity has been because I've been in Kerala, I've seen the Christian missionaries, I've spoken to a lot of Christian missionaries after that. So all of that has aided in my understanding of the Abrahamic religions, and also when I started studying Indian history, I understood that the more bigger threat in the Indian scenario is coming from the communist left ideologies, who actually give covering fire to all the Islamists and the Christian missionaries, and they have demonized the Hindu reactions, and they have made it sound like their Hindu reactions are coming from something evil rather than something they're responding to something that is a legitimate criticism. So I feel that the proper articulation of Abrahamic religious doctrine is necessary to counter not primarily the Christian missionaries but the left intellectuals who are actually dominating the cultural landscape in India, or actually
Right, right.
paralyzing the Hindu response, the pagan response, my favorite term, which is objected to by many Hindus. I
I,
got a fight on Facebook with many people saying, "Why do you use the word pagan? Why can't you use the word Hindus?" I said, "I have my reasons." Yeah. Anyway.
okay, okay. So, Dr. Abraham, you have written a book called The Philosopher Volunteer. What is that book about? I mean, writing a book is not a small task. So why did you think that there was a need for such a book?
Okay, yeah. See, first of all, the idea of the book is, as the title suggests, is to promote volunteerism. That is, people should take some time away from their normal routine and devote it to society and devote it to social issues. Now, the thing about volunteerism is that volunteerism is not possible without philosophy. Like, for example, once you start to go into society, you have to volunteer. So it will be from why do you do what you do? Why do you want to do certain things? Why do you want not to do certain things? So all of these are at root philosophical questions. And what I felt about was that is that to be a philosopher, you have to delve into many issues that concern with religion, or probably we have to go into I go into the background of philosophy, that is Indian philosophy, Western philosophy, and the philosophy of science. Now, here, what I'm trying to do here is what I found inspiring was that my exposure with Sangha. I was with an NGO related to Sangha, and I've seen people who devote their entire lives for social work, and this kind of impact that they have in society. So what that inspired me into thinking that Indian philosophy has one of the roots, one of the most profound roots which prompt people to do self-sacrifice. That is, even I feel that even Christianity was inspired by Indian philosophy. There is a body of scholars who think that Jesus Christ was a Buddhist, and I have very good reasons to believe that that may be true. It's a speculation, but that may be true, that he was a Buddhist monk. He came to India, learned Buddhism. He went back and he preached essentially Buddhist ideas. So the whole idea of self-sacrifice, which is what Christian missionaries also speak about, and it's very interesting for me because I feel that Christian missionaries, when they market Christianity to India, what is the new idea which they are selling? I mean, all of the ideas about love, compassion, brotherhood, fellowship, all of that was there in India. Like, have you seen how Guru Nanak worked, how Swami Vivekananda or Srinarayana Guru was, how Buddha was, how Jain rishis were, how Chaitanya Muni was. So all of these saints have been propagating the idea of compassion. So what is so special about Christianity? What doctrine or what new idea or philosophy have they introduced? I feel there is none. So I feel this inspiration to be a philosopher or to be a volunteer, we find it in Indian philosophy. And there are certain inadequacies in Indian philosophy that I feel are taken care of or are dealt better with the Western or the ancient Greek way of looking at things. So I believe that there is needs to be a balance between Western and Indian philosophy. So I'm trying to bring that balance out in the book, in the sense that I'm trying to introduce the Indian audience to the importance of the Western way of thinking, and also on some of the lacunae of Indian philosophy. And I feel that one of the fundamental lacunae of the shortcoming of Indian philosophical thought is that it encourages otherworldliness, and there is not much thought about society as a whole. So this point is overcome in the Western philosophy. So I think we need to have a conversation between East and the West. So that's one thing. Second thing,
Yeah,
Abrahamic
a
religious
lot
doctrine.
of my viewers would not agree with you on this, saying
Yeah.
that the Indian philosophy does not think about the society and it doesn't think about the otherworldliness. So, but yeah, that's your opinion.
Yeah, okay.
But as you
My
said,
my
maybe we need to have different conversations or several conversations to bring out exactly what you mean.
actually, yeah, actually, there is this conflict. I think that Chanakya has been articulated this conflict in the best way, in the sense that Chanakya is one of the rare Indian philosophers who has written a book on economics and who's written a book on politics. And there is one conversation between Chanakya and Chandragupta Maurya, wherein Chandragupta Maurya takes sannyas, and this is from Jain tradition. So, and Chanakya tells him that I cannot think of taking sannyas. my responsibility is to the people. And so I think that therein comes that conflict of Indian philosophy encouraging Indian individual salvation and for going up and so
But that's
there is
just
this
one part of Indian philosophy, right? That's
yeah,
not
but
the whole Indian philosophy. That's just one part.
there is one comment by Ambedkar that really struck me when he said that when India was building the Indian Constitution, where he said that all the ideas on how to build the constitution I got only from the West. We are getting only from the West. So he was a critique of. So I feel that as I said about the Christian missionary thing, I feel that there has to be a good conversation, more light, less heat, and what happens is that a lot of uncomfortable questions we need to speak about, and a lot of uncomfortable questions that will make people squeamish or people not like the conversation to go in a particular direction. But we need to go there. I mean, why? Because that way we will end up becoming a better society, a better world. Idea of raising. So I raise a lot of uncomfortable questions in my book, in the sense that I raise a lot of uncomfortable questions on the Abrahamic religious doctrine about the idea of heaven being only open to someone who believes in X and who doesn't believe in X. To me, that's very childish. And I explore religion, the origin of religion. So to my mind, is basically Indian philosophy. That is in a different way, in the sense that mixed with a bit of Jewish element. And Roman Catholic Church took in a lot of Platonic thought. So all of this is just khichdi. So what I'm trying to understand is that I'm trying to go to the essence of the philosophy and try to find out if there is a lacunae in particular. Like for example, I don't participate in the everything is hunky dory or great about India. So I understand why people take that position. Is the reason is because there is because there has been such relentless attack on India from an ideological way. That is first there was a physical attack. That is the Islamic invaders came and they destroyed all the temples, and the Christian and the left historians sort of like covered it up, that they don't talk about the destruction. And so this complete physical assault on Hinduism started from the Islamic invasion. Then the intellectual assault started from the Christian missionaries. Then the intellectual assault continued by the Marxists. So Indian civilization is under assault. I totally understand that point, and there is a reaction to it, which I also totally understand. And also I understand that there is a reflexive tendency to defend India. That is also perfectly fine. But I feel that we should look at all the realities in its in dispassionately and try to make it better. And like for example, what Swami Vivekananda said, rather than harping about the past, let's talk about the future. Let's make India greater and great. And so I think part of that is to look straight into the eye, even the most uncomfortable questions. That's how I go about it, and I am a free
Yeah,
thinker.
a true seeker, that's the approach a true seeker takes anyway.
Okay.
Christianity hasn't taught anything that hasn't already been not only taught, but also been practiced. So Christianity was nothing novel. It did not come with a different message. It did not come with a novel or unique message. So
Absolutely.
it has just taken in concepts from everywhere, more of Western, little of Eastern, or maybe the other way around. And it just formed a new doctrine, a set of doctrines. So basically, you are implying that it hasn't given the world anything that the world hasn't already known.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, no less than a person like Karl Marx, he said that India is the source of all our religions. India is the source of our religions. I mean, I was very stunned when I read that particular. Our religions means Marx is talking as a
The
European,
West.
and
Yes.
Westerner. So our means European. So the translation of that quote would be India is the source of European religions. So that is coming from Karl Marx. Okay, and why did he say that? And because the ideas that were there in India, that is what these Christian missionaries are repackaging. I talked to this about with my cousins and my friends, colleagues who are Christian missionaries. Some of the doctors are Christian missionaries. So I tell them that what is so unique about Christianity? What you say that you felt peace, spirituality, free, and a happiness in Jesus Christ is Bhakti Yoga. That is Indian philosophers have understood this as Bhakti Yoga. That is what Bhakta Meera was talking about. The same spiritual happiness, contentment people get when they pray to or when they have bhakti towards Krishna. So you are practicing Bhakti Yoga. There is Jnana Yoga. There is karma yoga. There is raja yoga. Indian philosophy has tabulated spirituality in such a in such a descriptive and detailed way. So there is nothing unique about anything that you're saying. I mean, even your experiences are right. Like we
So
have
what
been
is
there,
their
done that.
reaction to that? What is their response to that?
The response to that is nothing in the sense that okay, but Jesus is the Jesus. What is so unique? I asked them. I in a WhatsApp conversation with a doctor I
Jesus
have.
died for you. No
Yeah,
other
Jesus
God died for you.
died for you. Exactly. No, that's not true either. That's not true either.
And of course, yeah.
The most Mediterranean gods have died and resurrected. So
Resurrected. Yeah,
even
there are about 16 savior gods that the history has seen so far. We don't know how
yes.
many more are
So it is
out
just
there to
a
be researched and dug out.
this is just a copy of the Mediterranean God story about Jesus Christ died and raised up. And second thing is
Yeah.
that there is a Buddhist legend that Buddha will come back 500 years after his death. Okay, so this there is a match between 500 years gap between Jesus and Buddha. So you could be thinking, you can imagine or speculate that Buddhists in Middle East imagined that Jesus Christ was the reincarnation of Buddha, yeah, and then it got changed and into a new form. I mean, this is a speculation, but
Correct.
the bottom line here is there's nothing unique about Christianity.
Correct.
Christianity there's nothing unique about the message of Christ. Message of Christ is similar to message of Buddha. Love thy neighbor as thyself. That is Advaita Vedanta. I mean, what is so special about that? I mean, it's a beautiful idea. Love thy neighbor as thyself. I love it. I like, and when I read, actually, my experience in Saudi Arabia prompted me to read the Bible. And the only interesting part of the Bible was about Jesus Christ and his sayings, which I felt like, okay, this is very unique. And then I realized when I started doing more reading that maybe because he was an Indian, that he had these ideas. These are all Indian ideas. There are no. This is very alien to the Middle East culture. Whatever Jesus Christ was saying, he was talking like an Indian yogi, actually. So there is nothing so special. And if you feel very devoted towards Christ, and you feel peace, and you feel happiness, I'm not denying that. I'm sure you felt that, and I respect that, and I respect your feeling of
But
devotion and
that doesn't
happiness.
make it true or the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
truth.
It's only truth. You are experiencing Bhakti Yoga. That is my response to them. Yeah? Your
Lot
experiencing
of
is
lot of
not.
teenagers find solace reading Harry Potter series. Lot of
Yeah,
kids find solace in thinking that there's a Santa Claus that comes once every year and brings them lots of gifts. That doesn't make Santa Claus and Harry Potter true, any
true.
truer than Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I will go one steps ahead and saying that a lot of people have experience genuine solace or peace or whatever. That is something that even that is what I'm trying to say. That would something that Hindus may get by having devotion towards Krishna, or you are like there are some movements on Krishna consciousness or Bhakta Mira idea that I was Bhakti movement that I was talking about. So I'm not trying to belittle their religious experience, whatever
No,
they
no,
have.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the only point is
Yeah.
by that experience, on the basis of that spiritual individual experience, calling something the only truth and then trying to rub that truth on others, that is the whole problem. That is the
That is
only problem, in fact.
that is the whole problem. Not only that is the whole problem. That is what inspired colonialism. That is what inspired the terminal
Slavery and
yeah, slavery. That is what inspired the
genocides.
genocides. There is nothing good come out of Christianity. Okay, and the idea that you should, like for example, Indians also proselytized. I mean, like for example, Buddhism went to China, Buddhism went to Japan, Buddhism went to, but they did it peacefully, right? Ashoka sent people at peace, and it was persuasion. It was the idea. Bodhidharma took a boat from Kerala or Goa, whatever, South India, and went to China and established Zen Buddhism. And all of that was done through persuasion, argument, not by telling like Buddha is the way, your religions are wrong. No, it's not. So as the Chinese ambassador to India said that India conquered China without sending a single soldier.
Mhm.
Uh, this was a conquering through persuasion, through debate,
Discourse and
through
debate.
discourse, and that is what we need to conquer the world
Correct.
through good arguments, through
True.
arguments that make sense to people. Like the Chinese people loved Zen Buddhism because they found probably what Bodhidharma was saying was good. So the second patriarch of Zen Buddhism, the third patriarch of Zen Buddhism, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth was the most
Correct.
famous. All of these were Chinese people. They were not Indian.
Right.
So the
Right.
sixth patriarch was the Chinese. So this is the way to conquer the world. And
Mm.
what the Christian missionaries are doing is that they don't have much logic or persuasive arguments. So they give financial compensation. They scare the people out in by telling them that if you don't believe in this God, you will go to hell. Scare tactics,
Correct.
financial
Correct.
compensation, which is ugly. It is bad,
I
because you
know.
can't use which because you can't use the guns that your ancestors did, and you couldn't sort of like shoot them down. And of course, there's Christian missionaries, as Conrad has very correctly pointed out, can argue that was guns were used because they didn't they were not Christian enough, or they were wrong, or they
True.
were
True. Yeah.
immoral.
Yeah.
Yes.
Today they
So
sit and
so
talk, analyze their ancestors.
and so they can say, but they are doing the same. They don't realize that they are using aggression only by trying to scare people into thinking that if they are not part of the religion, they will go to hell. Or if you can't scare them enough, it's not possible to scare people or to attract people in India to their religion, because they are exposed to better ideas in India itself. So they use financial compensation. I mean, because India
Right.
is poor, so
Correct.
that's the weak point. Weak point.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.